for the tube. Say what up, tube?
What up, tube?
What up, tube? All right, and last but certainly not least, ever least, for the show. You ready to rock and roll it? Here we go in 3, 2, and...
Welcome to another episode of Business Bros. Woo! What up, ladies and gentlemen? Hernan here, host of the Business Bros podcast, where my goal is to help you create wealth today and generational wealth for tomorrow, along with my co-host,
the insurance bro, James C.S. at Pipeline Insurance, where we empower licensed individuals to effectively add insurance into their existing businesses. Woo! We're getting good at that.
Pumped up, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Ready to rock and roll.
Why?
Because it's S-H-I-T?
That's right.
So happy it's Thursday. I swear we're going to put that on a shirt, dude.
For sure. On the back of a Business Bros shirt.
Yeah, it's got to go on there.
Definitely.
And we should sell them just on Thursdays. It'd be like 25% off or something, dude. That'd be awesome.
Oh, I like it.
Smart move, huh? All right, ladies and gents. So usually, when we have a guest on the show, today I don't have a guest scheduled because I blocked off all the Thursdays for the next few weeks because my daughter's got soccer games.
I was wondering about that. I was like, are they all blocked out? I didn't even look ahead or anything. I just keep seeing Mila soccer game. It's because normally when she plays club ball, it's on the weekend, so I don't have to block anything off. But right now she's playing for her school, and so school games are on Thursdays. So, man,
family time.
How dare you put your daughter before the podcast?
I know, right?
What's wrong with you?
What's wrong with this guy? However, technically, I guess it's not before the podcast because the podcast came before the soccer game.
Yeah, that's true. We're getting this done early.
We still got to get it done.
We're getting it done. That is continuing our daily commitment.
So, and the cool thing is, right now in this series, when you get James and I by yourself, you get to hear about what I'm developing for helping you create your podcast. So I've been working on stuff. Still had the goal of March 16th. By this weekend, I'm going to have the registration page should be up and rolling so you guys can register for the webinar, get your stuff squared away. And I've been working on my presentation for that thing. So I get to share bits and pieces of the stuff that I add here so that, I get practice on, what I'm going to say, right? And B, I kind of work out the kinks on stuff like that. Yeah. So I get to share a little bit with you guys. So one of the secrets
you're giving away one of the secrets?
One of the secrets that I'm going to be talking about is how do we get people to listen, right?
That is a good question.
And actually, you know what? Before I even get to that secret, I'm going to share with you the title of my presentation because I think I honestly feel like it's pretty epic. I'm calling it The Power of Podcasting, Redefining the Influencer. What do you think, Ham? Power of Podcasting, Redefining the Influencer.
I like it.
Look, here's the main reason why. Look, and my biggest qualm right now with influencers is they really don't mean anything. See, like if you were famous before the internet, you were famous because you had some sort of value that you brought to the marketplace, whether it was a movie star or like a famous author or a writer or, something like that you brought to the market. People bought and sold your particular product or service, something that, people wanted to watch and be entertained by, the Will Smiths and Brad Pitts of the world, right? There were things, you were famous for those sort of things. Anything else you were famous for, you were probably infamous, not really famous, right? Where, then you had the Lorena Bobbitts of the world and the that's infamy. Yeah. What else? All kinds of crazy stuff.
Oh, I don't know. Hitler.
Whatever it was in the negative light, right? Infamous. So, but fast forward to today. Today, there are so many people who are quote unquote famous. We call them influencers, right?
Oh yeah.
And so, but
started talking about this Tuesday.
A little bit about influencers on Tuesday.
Today's celebrities,
but they don't really, other than they have a following, they're not really doing anything, bringing anything in the market that people buy and sell. They're bringing maybe entertainment, maybe they're making fun of people,
so,
maybe they're...
On that note, one of the greatest influencers of all time, one of the originators, have to give her credit, hate to do it in a lot of ways, but Paris Hilton.
For starting off the whole social type thing? Yeah.
Like, amazing job, that lady,
to create a brand for herself.
Yeah.
I mean, she already had, daddy's money.
Yeah. Granddaddy's money.
Granddaddy's money, right? But she still started to create a name for herself. And I was watching the evolution of hip hop.
Oh, that's
same type of thing. People grinding it out, getting their content out as much as possible, putting out mixtape after mixtape after mixtape, getting their stuff out there. The old grind of becoming an influencer by exposing people to content, right?
Right.
And so for me, when I'm talking about redefining the influencer, I'm trying to get away from I have 150,000 followers on Instagram, or I have, 1 million followers on YouTube. Do you want to get to that? Does it mean something? It does. But most people are not going to get there. Most people need to grow an influence in their small little markets that they have amongst their friends, their family. Like it's like any business. If you can get 1,000 loyal customers, 1,000 raving fans in any business, not 1 million, 1,000 people who follow you, who listen to you, who buy whenever you put out, they want to be part of your sphere because you're bringing some value. 1,000 people, you can sell them something for $10 a month, and you've made enough income to be living a very comfortable life, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So my focus is on that right there. How do you get to that point? Because that's really what, to me, most influencers are going to be. Most people out there don't want to be, Paris Hilton famous.
Sure. And to your point, there's a difference between, we talked about this guy, PewDiePie, right? He was the,
one of the
number
first.
one YouTube person, and all of their income comes from, or all of his income comes from the stuff that he does on YouTube.
Yeah.
But what we're talking about, it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, what we're talking about is not necessarily becoming an influencer of the world, but an influencer of your sphere, influencer of the people that are immediately going to be affected by you. You're not trying to necessarily conquer all of the United States, but this corner of San Diego, right here in National City, for example, this is where your bread and butter is. This is
your
where
domain.
This is your domain, and people should know you here.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And the problem that I think most people come across is when they think of a podcast, right? When they think of I'm going to create a podcast. I have a statistic that I pulled up I don't have it on this particular laptop, but they did PodTrack metrics, and they were looking at different of the 860,000 podcasts that are out there right now, right? How many of them have more than one episode? 12% of those only have one episode. And then 50% of all of them have less than 14 episodes. That means half of the podcasts out there quit. They just stop producing content. And I think the main reason comes back to that whole idea of, you know what? No one is listening. Right? I started this thing. I did 14 episodes. Nobody's really listening. I give up.
Wait. So 12% didn't make it past the first one. And what percent didn't make it past 14? Half
of the podcasts out there don't have more than 14 episodes.
Wow.
That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. That means, to me, that's telling me that why do they quit? I mean, there could be a number of reasons, right? Life gets in the way. It is a time commitment. It does become more work than you actually think it's going to be. There's a lot of those things. But I think the major factor and the main reason why people stop is because no one's listening, right? You're starting off at the beginning. You're looking at these huge influencers out there in the world that got into YouTube way early on. You're talking about people who got into YouTube in like 2004, 2005, when this thing was in infancy. And of course, it blew up for them. They're the pioneers, right? If you got in and bought Facebook early on and you're still holding Facebook stock right now, you're doing great. It's a good thing.
Sure.
If you were one of I heard Gary Vee talk about the 87th person in the seniority list at Facebook is going to make way more money than most people out there grinding out their 9 to 5 or in their businesses, right? If you get in early, you're going to have that huge influx of momentum, a huge influx of followers and likes and all that sort of stuff. But today, podcast is not even super mainstream. It's much more mainstream than it was a few years ago, but it's still in its infancy. However, there are 860,000 different podcasts out there. Just not all of them are constantly producing. And if you quit because you don't understand the time commitment, or if you quit because you don't understand, the production value that you're getting, if you quit because nobody's listening, you're shorting yourself. And I kind of want to parallel this to business, right? Like, let's think about all the stuff that you're doing right now. You have a business, and your business is sitting here, wherever it is and wherever you're at in the country, right? Your business is sitting in this particular location. And what are you doing? You're trying to grab the attention of your audience, whatever it is, your circle of influence. Maybe you're going after a particular niche, whatever it is. You're trying to say, hey, everybody, my ideal client, I am right here. I have your particular product or service that you're looking for. Come find me. I'm right here. Come buy from me. I mean, that's what you're trying to do, right? Mm-hmm. That's what the podcast is doing too. Except with the podcast, what do? If nobody's listening, you quit. Would you quit in your business?
Of course not.
You wouldn't. What do you need to do to your business? So what do? You go out and you find some sort of marketing strategy for yourself, right? And so you go and you start picking up the phone. And so now what did you do to your voice in your business, in your sphere? You raise the volume just a little bit. Now you're calling somebody every single day. You're calling different people. You're reaching out. And so your voice got a little bit louder. Yeah, you're going through no's. Most people are still ignoring you, but your voice got a little bit louder. Then what do? You're like, I need to add more stuff. Okay, so I'm going to do my phone calls at this time. Then I'm going to go door knocking. And so your voice got a little bit louder, right? Oh, you know what? I'm going to add mailers to my list so that I can set that all up. Now I'm door knocking, I'm calling, I'm mailing. Your voice got a little bit louder. And you're trying to get louder and louder with your marketing. That's your whole strategy and tactic.
In business.
And we're doing the same thing with podcasting. Except when you say, you're 14 episodes in, you're like, nobody's listening. You're looking at that as a bad thing. And I'm here to tell you that's actually a good thing. 14 episodes in, you suck, right? Chances are you don't have the skill set. You don't have the personality. You don't have the vocabulary. You don't have the confidence. You don't even know how your show operates in 14 episodes. So it's a good thing nobody's listening. This is your training ground. Mm-hmm. You need to stick to your thing, because once you stick to your thing, it's not just the podcast that's going to get you to the next level. It's every piece of content that you're getting from your podcast that's going to make your voice louder. Every time you repurpose an episode, you take the little snippets, the little gold nuggets, you repurpose them, you put a little brand logo on them, you throw them on your social, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. Now you have those little employees that are out there. Like, if you want to pick up the phone and call customers, that's you doing it. That's taking your time to pick up the phone, dial, talk to somebody, or get hung up on, or get yelled at, whatever. Hang it up and do the next one. Hang it up, do the next one. That's your time. If you want to go door knocking, it's your time. You're the one taking all the steps. You're the one knocking on all the doors. You're the one taking all the sun rays in, hearing all the no's, and maybe getting some yeses. That's your time. Wouldn't you rather hire somebody to do that for you if it could be effective? Most of you would. Guess what each social media piece of content, each podcast episode is for you? It's like your employee working for you 24/7. Once you put that piece of content out there, especially like when you put it on YouTube, that's a searchable piece of content. Now, some of those employees are going to work better than the other ones. But when you go to bed at night, that employee is still working for you. It doesn't quit. It keeps going over and over and over again. And as you develop your skills, as you get into episode 50 and 60 and 100, and you continue to do that, guess what? Your voice has got better. You can articulate your words better. Your topics are much more in depth. Your personality is way better on the microphone, right? You can actually stand behind a camera and be comfortable. Heck, you can talk to people in real life because you started doing interview-based podcasts like we tell you to do. Now you've built relationships. You've gathered an audience. The truth is, when you get started in business and you're trying to wave your hand saying, hello, I'm here, I'm doing a business, you're talking, but nobody is listening. You have to raise your voice. The same thing's going to happen with podcasting. You're starting off, and by episode 14, don't be upset because nobody's listening. Be grateful that you're getting better. That's the key, right? That's one of those things. How do you get people to listen? You raise the volume. And we're not talking about the little turning knob where I get louder and louder and louder. That's not what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about raise the volume, I'm talking about your volume of content.
I'm just going to say, man, I love seeing how passionate you are about this, man.
Dude, because it works. I don't know how to, like, if I can, dude, it's a hot day. We'll turn on the faucet. The water's cool. It works. Like, I'm going to tell you how to do that every single time because it's hot and I can cool you off, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. This is your business. Like, this is your piece of content that goes out there. How many pieces of content do you want working for you? I don't know. 1, 2, 0, 100. It's completely up to you. Each one of those sits out there and it doesn't disappear. Like, maybe it's not something that you throw on your feed every once in a while, but make sure you create stuff for YouTube. Now it's a searchable piece of content. Make sure you're putting stuff out on Twitter. Make sure you repurpose it. Make sure you do what Gary does. And he's like, check it out. This is what I was saying in 2009. And this is what I'm saying now. Now you're repurposing old content again with the new content and you have a contrast. Like, there's so many different things that you can do that you start to get creative with. And the reason why right now you suck at it is because you haven't committed to doing something on a regular basis and you haven't worked with somebody who can guide you through the process, right? You need to be able to look up to a mentor and say, hey, I'm stuck at this point. What should I do? And they can be able to answer you. Everybody tells you need to put out more content. Everybody's saying it. You know you're supposed to be putting out more content. But here's the problem. You grab your phone, right? Let's go back a little bit. You go to some event, right? You go to a real estate event, you go to an insurance event, you go to some hoorah, everybody's got excited energy event. The speaker's on stage. I'm your speaker. I'm out there on stage. I'm telling you, it's an amazing day. You're going to love it. All you got to do to grow your business is put out more content. The more content you put out, the better. Get creative, document, talk about what you're doing. Come on, let's go do it. And you get all pumped and excited and you leave the event and you're like, yeah, I'm going to put out more content. You grab your phone, you pick it up, you turn the camera on and you're like, I don't know what to say. Right? How many of us have been in that situation? There's a lot of us. There's a lot of us who've been in that situation. I don't know what to say. So you put it down and you justify it and you're like, you know what? I'll do this later. And then, a couple hours go by and you're like, oh, I got to do my content. Oh, I'll do it after I finish this work. I'll do it before I go to bed. I'll do it in the morning. And you don't do it, right? It's hard. It's difficult to come up with stuff right off the top of your head. Most people are not creative like that. Some people have that natural talent, right? They're going to come up with some stuff and they're going to put it out there. Mr. Pancho Lopez, right? He's one of my, I love his content. It's funny. I don't know where it comes in his mind, but that's how his mind operates. He's a loon, right? But he can create content, no problem. The rest of us, most of us can't. We have to have a process in place. That's what the Business Bros Power of Podcasting is all about. That's what we're going to be here for. We're going to help guide you through the process, script you through it, help you create the things that you need to create. Podcasting is your vehicle to creating content. It's your vehicle to meeting new people, to getting new ideas, to putting out pieces of content. One episode like this, 30 minutes of long form content, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, whatever we're going to do. One episode can have a bunch of little nuggets in it. You guys have been seeing on our Instagram page the different podcast posts that we've been, the different posts that we've been putting on. Those gems that you're seeing, those little snippets are from one speaking event. Haven't even got to Resolution 2020 yet. Like, you haven't seen anything. It's just one speaking event. And that's one. Like, again, one event. We have over 400 episodes. There's a ton of content that we could be putting out there. As a matter of fact, that's one of my goals here very soon is I want to be pushing 4 or 5 pieces of content a day at least. We have that much stuff to put out. Yeah. And each piece of content that we put out is another soldier out there, another employee out there talking about our business, effectively raising the volume on what we do. That's what you want to do in your business. Look, if you're right now paying some marketing company to do stuff for you on the back end, great. But they have control of your marketing. They have control of your branding. You need to take control of that. When you hire somebody to do that, you hire certain pieces of it, but you need to be in control of what you're saying and how you're saying it and how often you're saying it. Podcasting lets you do that. That's the power of podcasting. And when you do, you're redefining what an influencer is. I'm not saying I'm an influencer amongst hundreds of thousands or even millions of people, but in my niche, in my community, in the people that are around me every single day, my friends, my family, they know exactly what we do. When they think of me, they think of podcasting. They think of the Business Bros. They think of every single guest that we've had on the show. They know that our industry is in real estate and insurance. And so when they need help with something, they call the bros. That's what happens when you have the power of podcasting. Your volume goes up. People hear you. I no longer have to wave my hand and shift through the nose. No's don't exist in my world as much anymore. Mostly what I hear is, yes, I'd like to be a guest on your podcast. And after, by the way, just let me tell you how it works. At first, you're nervous about asking people to be on the podcast, but they say yes. Then you get really good at asking people and they keep saying yes. And now you get to the point where we're at, where people ask us to be on the podcast, right? It's a progression, but you have to take the effort today. Like, let's think of like the sequoia trees, right? Those beautiful, big, tall trees that you see out in the forest, right? Or out in the redwoods, right? Yeah. Those are big, massive, beautiful trees. They didn't start off that way. They started off as a seed. Matter of fact, it was a little seed that got dropped in the ground and probably needed some nourishment. Needed water. It needed to be in a safe spot. It needed some support. But before you knew it, it started to grow roots. And the roots got deeper until it got to the point where the roots had its own water supply. And then it didn't need light to happen to come by. It grew tall enough to get its own light. That's exactly what's going to happen to you. Don't give up after one episode. Don't give up after 14 episodes. Who cares if nobody is listening right now? Nobody's listening because you're not worth listening to yet. Yet. If you're in your business and you're struggling to get clients, it's because you're not good enough at raising your volume yet. You need to take control of your marketing campaign. 100%. It's your business. It's your brand. You need to take control of it. Podcasting is a vehicle to get you there. I'm pumped, dude.
You are. I'm totally watching you and just enthralled. And I hope that other people are too. Other people can definitely sense your passion. They're going to get, I think, the best version of you, because I don't think I've ever seen you as pumped about anything as I'm seeing you pumped about this right now.
Dude, when you figure out what works, I keep hearing this. I think it's Jay Abraham actually, but I heard it from Russell Brunson. He's like, when you figure out something that works, you have this moral obligation to share it with people. Right?
Yeah.
And that's how I feel. I'm like, dude, this thing is amazing. This podcast thing. And it's cool because it doesn't even, like, if you have a fear of getting behind the camera, you don't have to do video yet. Like, we started off audio only.
Right.
Right? Like, what's one of those things? One of the biggest fears that I know people have when it comes to podcasting is, I don't know what to say. And the other one, which they don't say it that way, but it really comes down to, is I'm not confident enough. Right? I don't believe in myself to be able to do this. Right? So, I mean, what's the first one? I don't know what to say. Well, that's easy because we're going to help you, guide you through the script. I'm going to help you write a script for every single show so you know exactly what to say. Mm-hmm. And when you have control of what you're going to say, if you have the script right in front of you, you automatically have a little bit more confidence in what you're going to say. You just feel a little bit better. And maybe you can't go behind a camera yet. Maybe that's too much of a distraction. But so what? Start with the audio. We'll take some, when we talk about creating content, the stuff that you put on Instagram doesn't have to be a video like this of me talking. It doesn't have to be like that at all. It could be just a picture or your logo with some little, the little, I don't even know what they call
subtitles?
Them. The little audio thing that little bounces around. The analog thing. Yeah. And it's you talking. This is your piece of content. Or you're having the interview. Yeah. And that's your piece of content. But that might not be as good as a video, but it's better than having nothing at all, right? You start somewhere, be the little seed, plant that little seed, nurture that little seed, and we're going to get you to that next level. You just got to understand that this is the vehicle that has helped us grow, not only as a business, not only as an insurance company, it's helped us grow as individuals.
Very true.
I want you guys to compare my energy and my enthusiasm on this episode and go back to episode 1, right? I dare you to try to listen to episode 1. It sucked. Compared to today, it sucked, right? Like, I have more charisma. I am more confident. I'm more comfortable. Like, I can hop in front of a camera, no problem. I can hop on a stage, no problem. Off the whim, you can give me a question. I have an answer for you. I got stories. I've got analogies. I got everything that I've acquired over the last 15 years of business and experience. But now I have a means and an ability to share them with you because I've been practicing. Not to mention the last 2 years of the over 250 people that have shared their stories with me. That's a ton of information that I've learned that I can share with you. It's freaking awesome. Like, I don't know how else to like tell you that this is something you should be doing. Like, this is how important it is. And it's not about becoming Joe Rogan famous. That's the key. You got to understand, this is why I call it redefining the influencer, because you're not trying to be Joe Rogan, Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise famous. That's not the point. If you get really good at it, and if your message is that powerful, if your story is that influential, and you perfect it and work on your craft, then that kind of fame is definitely possible. But go in there understanding that what you want to do is just be a top influencer amongst your circle of influence. You want to get to the point where you have that 1,000 people that are willing to do anything that you are going to be doing. If you're going to be an event, they're going to show up. If you have a product, they're going to buy it. If you have a service, you're the one they're going to call. You're looking for 1,000 people, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. Stop trying to shoot for that million. That million would be awesome. And you can get to that million. You just got to raise the volume.
Raise the volume.
You got to raise the volume. And that's it. That's all it takes, dude.
I dig it.
How long?
We're raising the volume. Sorry. That's 26 minutes.
Dang, dude. Ladies and gents, dude, this is fun. Like, I look forward to doing this every single day. Like, it's one of the highlights of my day, to be honest, to hop on this thing and be able to talk to you guys, to just hop on a live and you know, share the message with you, to like hit a little nerve. I love it when I get DMs or when I get text messages of people who say things like, you know, hey, what you said this today, like, it really helped me out. Like, this is exactly what I needed here today. Or like, I really appreciate that. Or, you know, or when we send our personal messages, like when you send me a Facebook friend request and I send you a video, you know, when people send stuff back like, man, this is so unique. Nobody does this. You know, I really appreciate it. You know, stuff like that. Like, it's just more logs on the fire. Like, dude, it just keeps me going. And every time I hear somebody struggling and I know the answer is the easy part. It's the work ethic that's going to be the difficult part.
That's the difference maker.
That's the difference. But accountability helps, right? Mm-hmm. Shout out to Deborah C. All right, Deborah C is putting out her. I'm asking her anyways to continue to post when she goes to work out, and I told her to do that so that we can help her stay accountable. Right now, I believe in accountability. It really falls on yourself. You can't really depend on other people for accountability. You have to be able to look in the mirror and say, this is what I want and this is why I'm going to get there, and I'm only going to do it because I want to make that change, right?
Yep.
However, it does help when you have other people backing you up. And that's what Power of Podcasting is going to be about. It's about helping you get to a level that you want to get to. We're here to help you not only with the accountability part, but anytime you have a hiccup, you need a script for something, we got you. You need technical support on a particular, you know, product that we're using, maybe a hosting package, maybe a particular piece of hardware that we use. We're here to answer your questions. That's what the Power of Podcasting is about. I want to help you get from point A to point B, not just tell you that you need to post content. I want to show you how to post content. I want to help you know what to say. I want to help you get all those little employees out there running on Google at all times, working for you 24/7, yelling out your message. Follow us, Business Bros Pod.
Boom.
All right, ladies and gents, 2 p.m. podcast. That's all we got for you guys today. Peace.
Bye-bye.
And I'm out.